Hi, my name is Kobe. I'll be narrating this experience. I was born and raised in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm a pianist and artist of various things. Halifax is a pretty awesome place. We are located on the coast of a beautiful ocean with warm, welcoming people, and the city all around just being pretty unique. Human settlement of present-day Nova Scotia dates back to the end of the last ice age, approximately 13,000 years ago, when groups of hunter-gatherers moved into the area to hunt caribou. Oral tradition identifies these early settlers as the forefathers of the Mi'kmaq people, who occupied a territory stretching from the Gaspé Peninsula to Cape Breton Island, called Mi'kmaq. Sorry if I pronounced anything wrong. The Mi'kmaq did not establish permanent settlements, but moved in seasonal rounds from coastal regions in the summer, where they fished and hunted, to inland areas in the winter, where they hunted game such as moose, caribou, muskrat, and bear. One coastal area used by the Mi'kmaq was Pugtuk, later known as Shukbukto, which meant the biggest harbor. The Mi'kmaq were prosperous and greatly impressed early Europeans.
Wanna give you anything you can ask for, yeah. See you and I still feel bashful, yeah. This remind me of that old Q-tip, yeah.
Oh, your music sound like some old Q-tip.
Yeah? Taught a New Yorker how to drive, and yeah. Taught a self-doubter how to thrive, and yeah. Only woman that could get me on the rise, and yeah. P when you making her a bride, oh yeah. Inspired by you back in school, and yeah. They could never play you for the fool, and yeah. I'll be on the road playing cool, but yeah. I need you right here.
This ain't a game we're playing, but I wanna win it. It's all or nothing, but that's just called living.
Halifax, a city on the sea, owes its existence to the citadel. It was a large hill overlooking the easily defended harbour below that led the British military to found the town there in 1749. Among the first buildings construction was a wooden guardhouse on top of what would eventually be called Citadel Hill, with Halifax's first settlers building their homes at the base of the hill, closer to the water. Over the years, as the fort grew, so did the town, with much of Halifax dedicated to supplying the soldiers with both essential supplies and off-duty entertainment. Today, the Halifax Citadel continues to watch over the city's downtown core, although now its role is as a reminder of Halifax's past and not as a military fortification. The present citadel, completed in 1856, is officially called Fort George, named after Britain's King George II, and is actually the fourth in a series of forts to sit atop what is known as Citadel Hill. Its distinctive star shape is typical of many 19th century forts built by the British military, and gave the garrison sweeping arcs of fire. From its steep defensive ditch, soldiers pointed muskets from every angle of its scout walls and large canals that lined its ramparts. It's easy to see why no enemy force ever dared to attack the legendary Halifax Citadel.
During the First World War, the port city of Halifax on Canada's east coast was one of the busiest in North America. In December of 1917, it was also the site of one of the worst disasters in Canadian history. As one of the largest deepwater harbors in the world, and the closest major port to Europe, Halifax was the last safe harbor for ships bringing much-needed personnel and supplies to the battlefields of France and Belgium. Ships would take shelter in Bedford Basin before setting out across the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic. At its narrowest point, the harbor is less than half a kilometer wide. To prevent collisions, ships were required to stay in two lanes, incoming ships on the east and outgoing ships on the west. On the evening of December 5th, the Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship carrying explosives, arrived in Halifax. Normally, ships carrying dangerous cargo would fly warning flags, but the regulations had been changed to avoid giving targets to enemy submarines. Anti-submarine nets had been strung across the harbor for the night, so the Mont Blanc would have to wait until morning to enter the safety of the harbor. Meanwhile, in Bedford Basin, a Norwegian cargo ship, the Emo, was waiting to leave on its way to New York to pick up supplies to bring to refugees in Belgium. Refueling had taken longer than expected, putting the Emo a day behind schedule. Both the Mont Blanc and the Emo would pass through the Narrows the next morning, and both would be in a hurry. Both ships started moving at around 7:30 in the morning. The Mont Blanc was guided by harbor pilot Francis Mackey, who had boarded the night before. In its hold was more than 2,000 tons of high explosives. This included TNT, picric acid, and gun cotton. On deck were 2,000 barrels of highly flammable benzene fuel. As it was leaving Bedford Basin, the Emo passed the SS Clara, an American steamer, the first ship in line to enter the harbor. The Clara was on the wrong side of the harbor, which forced the Emo to veer into the oncoming lane. Before it had a chance to correct its course, the pilot on board the Emo spotted the Stella Maris, a tugboat pulling two barges from the shipyard toward the basin, also traveling in the wrong lane. To avoid a collision, the Emo was forced to veer even further towards the eastern side of the harbor, putting it directly into the path of the Mont Blanc as it entered the narrowest part of the harbor. With the ships on a collision course, the Mont Blanc sounded its whistle, signaling the Emo to return to its channel. The Emo responded, signaling that it would remain on its present course. Collision was now only moments away. At the last second, the Mont Blanc steered hard to port. At the same time, the Emo cut its engines and reversed, causing the bow to swing starboard. Sparks from the collision ignited the barrels of benzene stored on the Mont Blanc's deck. Slowly, the burning ship began to drift toward the city. With the fire spreading, the crew of the Mont Blanc abandoned ship. The cruiser Niobe, which was anchored nearby, sent a boat to assist. Crowds gathered along the shore to watch the fire, unaware that they were watching a ticking time bomb. Train dispatcher Vince Coleman sent a telegram warning approaching trains to stop before reaching the harbor. The Stella Maris had returned to assist, hoping to work with the crew of the Niobe to tow the burning ship away from the shore, but they were out of time. It was the largest man-made explosion before the invention of the atomic bomb. Around 2,000 people were killed, either by the blast itself or the fires that followed. Nearly every building within 800 meters of the explosion was destroyed. Pieces of the Mont Blanc were found more than 5 kilometers away. Within days, hundreds of doctors, nurses, and other relief workers flooded into the city, along with supplies and donations from throughout Canada and the United States. As the city began to recover, people demanded answers. How could this have happened? Attention focused on Mackey and the crew of the Mont Blanc. The captain, pilot, and first officer on board the Emo were all killed in the blast. An initial inquiry found the Mont Blanc guilty of causing the disaster. The crew should have exercised more caution, knowing how dangerous their cargo was. When the case was appealed to the Supreme Court of Canada, both ships were found to be equally responsible. In their decision, the court said that in the chaos and desperation of wartime, mistakes were perhaps inevitable, and it was a series of mistakes and oversights that had led to one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history.
The industrial expansion of the city of Halifax had a devastating effect on Africa, an African Nova Scotian community located on the edge of the Bedford Basin. The community had been home to black residents of Halifax since the mid-19th century, but was neglected by the city, which provided no water or sewage facilities and put a dump nearby. In 1961, City Council voted to remove the residents to make way for industrial development. Many residents protested and resented not being consulted about the project. The residents were evicted, Africville was demolished, and the land converted into a park. The site was recognized as a National Historical Site in 1996 and continues to serve as a symbol of Black Nova Scotian culture identity.
Where the pavement ended, Africville began. There have been black people in Halifax as long as there's been a Halifax. They helped build the city, formerly enslaved people and free black men and women, maroons. Together, they dug out its roads and raised its roof beams. Facing racism in town, black people settled at the city limits. They built homes and started families. They set up their own school and other services the city refused to provide. They built the Seaview United Baptist Church, the beating heart of the community. Despite paying city taxes, Africvillians had no running water, electricity, paved roads, or sewers. Instead, the city built factories, sewage pits, and a prison nearby, then labeled the village a slum. In 1962, Halifax City Council voted to demolish Africville, taking its valuable land for industrial development. The bulldozers arrived as Africville lay sleeping. By 1970, the neighborhood was destroyed, and its residents forcibly relocated to other Halifax neighborhoods. But Africville was home to the people who lived there, and they would not be forgotten. Once a year, we venture out to Africville for a reunion. Set up your tent, set up your camp, or throw a blanket on the grass. The children are playing, people are laughing and hugging, reminiscing about the old days. But for 3 days, you have your community back.
Now with the brief history out of the way, let's dive right into the city and talk to some folks, eh? Let's ask them what they personally like and dislike about Halifax. Let's go.
Hi, how's it going? My name's Jerica, last name Tebow. I have lived here in Halifax and Dartmouth, so HRM, since 2010, or what, 2021? So 11 years. With my beautiful partner. Would you like to introduce yourself, baby?
Hi, I'm Christina White. I've just newly lived up here again. I lived here a while ago for quite a few years, but now it's been, what, about a year?
About a year.
A year up here, but I'm actually from Truro Bible Hill area, and I've lived there the majority of my life, so. But
Okay.
I'm planning on moving up here.
Nice. So, just in general, what do you like and dislike about Halifax?
Ooh, okay, so what I love, not even like, what I love about Halifax is it's a welcoming community. There's trees everywhere, like everywhere. I've been to cities, concrete cities, like Toronto.
Good green
Ugh.
space,
There's a lot of green space.
and I love it's by the water.
It is. You can't go anywhere without being by the water. Like, I mean, you're not more than, what, an hour's walk from the water.
Or if you live downtown, you can be seconds away.
But yeah, you can spit and hit the water downtown.
And the beaches aren't too terribly far away either.
Nova Scotia in general is a beautiful place to live.
Alright, great.
So what do we dislike?
COVID right now.
Yeah, COVID.
Lockdown.
So I live in Spryfield, so there's a lot of ambulances and cops around because Spryfield is not the.
It's not that bad. I like it.
Well, I mean, but
not
then
that
again,
bad.
I literally live like down the street from a firehouse, so you know when you call 911, they're gonna be one of the first ones
In
to go.
seconds.
Yeah, within seconds. So I mean, I don't like that, but I mean, in regards to Halifax, thinking about everywhere that I've been across Canada, and you've been across the world, there's not much I don't like. There's a coffee shop on pretty much every corner. People are gonna be friendly. A lot of people will give you the shirt off their back. I love it. I love it here. There's so many more things that I can think about loving about Halifax than there is about not loving. What's dislike, hating? Hating is a strong word.
I can't think of anything I dislike about Halifax, or at least not at this exact moment. No. I like it all. The only thing really is
Is the
COVID.
COVID. Fuck. Shoot. COVID. Darn COVID.
COVID.
COVID sucks. Bill. Bill COVID.
If there wasn't any COVID, then technically that's not Halifax, though.
No,
Halifax had to
well,
lock down because of.
But there's so many
COVID
lakes. I
and
mean, with
rules.
there are so many lakes around here. Literally within a 5-minute walk, we're in a lake. It's beautiful. I mean, the weather's great. Winter's not that bad. So we have 4 seasons. So there's winter, spring, summer, fall, autumn, whatever.
We get lots of cruise ships in.
Yep. So
when
yeah, when
no
COVID's not
lockdown.
happening, there's lots of cruise ships. So there's lots of tourism. There's lots of different people. And I mean, I find it's just a big community that's just wonderful. And I mean, accepting. Yay, yay. Super
Very
accepting. Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Noor. I'm in grade 12 at Citadel High. I'm Egyptian. And what I like about Halifax is just, it's really pretty. There are lots of green spaces, and the people here are really nice, and I've made some of my best friends here. What I don't like about Halifax, there isn't that much actually, but there isn't really much to do other than go for walks. Like compared to bigger cities like Toronto or Alexandria maybe, there are many more entertainment venues. But I don't really mind it that much. Yeah.
My heart is sad and I am lonely for the only one I love. And shall I see her? No, I'll never till we meet in heaven above. So marry me beneath the willow, beneath the weeping willow tree. And when she sees where I am sleeping, then perhaps she'll weep for me. All the winds are waiting day, oh Lord, it worries me. She's gone, I'll never see her. She no longer cares for me. So marry me beneath the willow, beneath the weeping willow tree. And when she sees where I am sleeping, then perhaps she'll weep for me. Then perhaps she'll weep for me.
Like and dislike about Halifax in general?
I love Halifax. The gentrification is the thing that gets me the most. I've lived in north central Halifax for about 12 years now. I live specifically on Gottingen and Buddy Day across from Uniacke Square, and the gentrification that's happening to Gottingen Street is making it really difficult to live in the town that I love. And yeah, it's just, I love, okay, yeah, so that's what
Great.
I don't like, is all the condos going up, essentially.
Yeah, that's bad.
But what I do like is just, I mean, like, of course we're here out on the waterfront, and I couldn't think of a place that's kind of in a nutshell where what it comes down to is just, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world than here on the waterfront. And the gentrification is making that kind of untenable for me. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the buskers around
Yeah,
town?
yeah. So if you're looking for like like OG buskers, like the most original busker, the guy who's been doing it the longest and doing it for a living. He's been doing it for more than a decade now. That's Caesar. Julian, his actual name is Julian. He's Julian Caesar on Facebook. I'm not sure how much of that is his real name.
Make sure to add him.
He's been doing this for like more than a decade and making a living off of it. He plays down on Argyle, if there was still an Argyle Street. And Tree is the guy you see playing the harp, and he'll play that harp for about 10, 12 hours a day. Matt's another good one. He plays his 12-string guitar, and he wears like a cowboy hat. He looks kind of like he's got this weather-cracked face, like he's seen a little bit too much sunshine. But his voice is amazing. Like he really doesn't need a microphone. Like you'll know Matt when you see him. He's either playing the 12-string guitar or the mandolin. But his voice just like projects like crazy. Like I've seen him at open mics and they just like take the mic away from him because he does not need it. So the guys, Caesar is kind of the granddaddy, and then Matt, and then Tree after him.
There's lots of talented people in Halifax.
Yeah. I'm relatively, even though I've been doing this for 8 years.
Oh, you're awesome.
I'm new.
Yeah.
I'm new to it compared to them.
Yeah.
I dislike that everything closes at 6 p.m. on a Friday. But I mean, what is there not to like about Halifax? I mean, we're from Ontario originally, so I don't know.
I'm trying to think of things that I dislike about Halifax.
Sorry to put you in the spot.
No, not really. I can't really come up with anything that I dislike.
Yeah. I mean, like you can't do this on a Friday night in Ontario. So. Yeah, I don't know. I love the everything.
I like being able to leave work and walk down to the waterfront and have some margarita and do some fishing.
Just relax.
Yeah, just kick back and relax. I like being so close. Driving down to some awesome places on the shore. And, just having really sweet and laid back. Even the boat people too.
Even the boat people. So, introduce yourself first.
My name is George Jukadar. I'm owner of Fenwick Convenience, 1143 South Park Street.
Okay, great. What do you like and dislike about Halifax in general?
In general, everything in Halifax is good, especially the good schools, quiet and peaceful cities, and that's it.
Okay.
Don't like nothing. Nothing I don't like. To be honest, if I have or if I don't like the city, I don't live in it.
Exactly. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good day, this is Mr. McDonald, Connor's grandfather. Now he's asked me a question about what I liked and disliked about Halifax. Well, first of all, I never did like Halifax. Right from the very, I hate it. I hate going over there. I don't know where I'm going half the time, and I don't like Halifax whatsoever. Now, years and years ago, when I was a young man, Halifax was all right. It wasn't complicated, but they made everything. The streets are all one way, and there's bars in every corner you come to. It never used to be like that one time. One time you could get the ferry and walk over, and it was nice, and you could go to the public gardens, and you could spend a nice afternoon there, and it was lovely. But today you can't go nowhere near Halifax. I despise it, and I never go there. Only if I absolutely necessary have to go there. And if I can get out of it, I will. So anyway, so that's my part is concerned about Halifax. Thank you very much.
John B. Main. I'm a musician, and I've been a resident of Halifax since 1998. I've performed all across Nova Scotia as well as the Maritimes. So, things I like about Halifax. Where do I start? Halifax is home to a lot of my most cherished memories. It's also home to many kind people. I think the city has a very strong sense of community, and it also has a music scene that's nearly as old as the city itself. Things I dislike about Halifax. I think to start, I'll have to mention the current situation with people having a hard time getting proper medical care, whether it be for physical or mental ailments. For example, a couple of years ago, I had a flare-up in an anxiety disorder that I have, and when I went to see the doctor about it, I told him that it was an urgent matter, and he very promptly told me that no, it wasn't an urgent matter, it was a chronic matter. So that wasn't a whole lot of fun, but I stuck it through. Here I am now. But I do think that needs to change. As well, I've definitely noticed more within the past year or so than within the past few years, but I do know that it's been an ongoing thing. People having a hard time affording just the most basic living spaces. I've had many friends who can't afford cheaper living spaces because the money they're making at their jobs isn't enough to pay for these places. Now, being a performer in Halifax is a very unique thing because there are many different kinds of performers in Halifax. Being a musician is just one of them. And then on top of being a musician, there's the different genres that you could play as a musician. So I'm a blues musician, and you're more likely to find someone who plays blues music, or really any live music for that matter. You're more likely to find them in a bar, a pub, or a restaurant, whereas in a nightclub, you're more likely to find a DJ for the dance floors that they have there. That being said, I'm a blues musician, and the blues scene around here is kind of almost like a sub-scene, if you will, of the genre, of the music scene around here. We're a very close-knit community, and we all know each other, we all get along, we all share a very deep love for blues music and blues history, and in my experience that has led to impromptu jams, when you just have a bunch of musicians that are in the same room, and they're like, we're all here, we might as well play some music. And as well, since we all love the history of the music, it can lead to some very long, in-depth conversations about this artist or that artist, and what this artist did and what that artist did, and things of that sort, and how long ago this artist was born. It's a very deep musical history. So the people in this subgenre or subcategory of the music scene were very passionate about it, and overall it's just an awesome experience being a musician here in Halifax, whether it's blues or country or rock or whatever. The music scene around here, being a musician around here, it's a very fun experience, a very fun thing to do, and you make a lot of friends through it.
Overall, Halifax is a wonderful place. We've only touched the surface of so many interesting stories and locations that are here. I do hope one day you get to come to Halifax and experience everything that it has to offer. Now I want to take this time to thank you so much for getting to this point of the film and completing it. It means a lot to me. This is one of my first documentaries, and I appreciate it. So I hope you guys have a great day or night, and I hope to see you on the streets of Halifax. I'm Colby, and I'm signing off.
Oh, the year was 1778. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. A letter of marque came from the king to the scummiest vessel I've ever seen. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. Oh, well, Sid Barrett, cried the town, how I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. For 20 brave men, all fishermen, who would make for him the Antelope's crew. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. The Antelope sloop was a sickening sight. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. She'd a list to the port and her sails in rags, and the cook in the scuppers with the staggers and jags. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. On the King's birthday we put to sea. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. We were 91 days to Montego Bay, pumping like madmen all the way. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers.